Hi, welcome. So in this video, we are going to look at a very interesting function in Excel, very interesting for analysts, which is the VLOOKUP. So if you have been using SQL, you must know that joins is one of the interesting things we do, data set joining maybe two tables based on a primary key or a foreign key. So VLOOKUP is the equivalent of that in Excel. And it's very, very important to understand how to use VLOOKUP because it's going to be able to help you to link up two different tables, maybe based on one common key between the two of them, and expand your database so that you can be able to get more insight from your data. So I'll just go with an example, and then we'll see how important it is to understand VLOOKUP and how we use it in practice. So let's just go ahead and learn how to use VLOOKUP. So we are here now. I'm just going to create a new sheet, and then I'll just call this VLOOKUP, and then also I'll just increase here, expand it so that we can see. Now I'll just enter some data just to show you an example of how VLOOKUP can be helpful. So imagine we have a staff table here. So it could be in another sheet, it could even be in a completely different workbook, but let's say there's a staff table here, and then the first thing about it is there is a matricule number, maybe matricule. So this is like the code for each staff member, and then there's also the name of the staff. There could be many things about the staff, maybe the date of start date, let's say the day the staff started working, the company start date, town where he stays, maybe category or post, let's just say job position, title or job title. So there could really be so many things here. It's a huge table, and this is a table with a unique primary key here, which is the matricule number. So let's just say the first staff is ST, maybe you have something like ST001. Then you have the second staff ST002. So we could have staff like this in the company, and each person's matricule is what we'll be able to use to determine, to know everything about the person. So there is a name, maybe the name is John, and then whatever the start date, maybe 1988, whatever the start date, the town, maybe in Douala. So you see there are so many things here, so we could fill so many details here, and it's a very long table with all that information. So the next person is Mary, the next person is Peter, James, Mike, and then you can have maybe Nina. Now that's for the staff table. From another report, now you get the sales report, so the sales table. So the thing about the sales table now is that, let's just say it is per day. So day one, this is what was sold. Day two, this is who sold this, or time, it could be per time. But the whole idea is that it's a very long table, and then there is a staff table. So let me just put this down here. Then you have the days here. Then you have maybe the product name, yeah, or even there just say the sales code, also sales code. So each sale has a code, product name. Then you have the quantity, and then maybe total sales. Also, there is one thing which is maybe now the matricule, staff matricule. So normally we don't expect that for every single sale in the sales table, they should put maybe there's a sales code first. Let's put a sales code. Let's just put S001. Let's just put them like this, just like that. Let's just say each sale code is like that, just for simplicity. Then the product name here is milk. Milk was sold here. Rice was sold here. Maybe some bottled water. So I'm just filling this just to illustrate. Now the quantity here, how many cartons? Maybe 2 cartons. Yes, and then we could put the price. So there could still be a price, or there could be the product have another table, which is the product table with the price. So for now, let's just put the price, and maybe the price is 10, the price is 20, price is 25 price. So now the quantity here was 4, quantity here 5. So let's just say total sales is equal to this, and then times this one equal to that. So let's just pull that. That's total sales, for example. So there could be many items here. So many items here. Now, a table will not have, say, staff matricule, and then add again the name of the staff, add the start date, add the town, add the job title. Maybe there was even the sex, the male or the female staff. So you cannot add all of that here. It'll be a very long table for every single transaction of sale. Maybe you sell just one item each time, you have a very long table. So the report will just carry maybe the matricule number like a reference. So let's just say the first sale was made by Peter. Yeah, so the report will just carry this of Peter staff matricule. The second sale was made by Mike. Then you just carry this one. The third one was made by maybe John. So it will be this one like this. So now if you receive these 2 reports, you receive this report like this, and you receive this other report, like this. How do you link up to maybe to say you want to analyze maybe sales per sex to know, okay, is it females that are performing more or male? So you need to use Vlookup to be able to help you look up this ST03 here. What is the equivalent here? In terms of the sex is male. So you should be able to use it to say add a new column here, and because you want to get another dimension in your analysis, maybe this sales report was just focused on product and quantity sold and revenue per product. Now you also want to see revenue per sex, revenue per maybe where the staff stay, maybe their town, revenue per job title, revenue per number of years of working here. So there are so many things you could add to your data, do some feature engineering, and that's when Vlookup is very important for an analyst to understand how to use. So you would come here, you say, okay, I want to add this sex here. So let me just make them bold so that you know that these are the titles. So what you do, Vlookup, and then we can just make them look like okay, it's one table. Just remember the basic formatting we saw in the last earlier sessions. So I'll just make them like this. These are 2 tables. This could completely be in another sheet or coming from another database. This one is coming from a completely different database. Now you have to merge the 2 of them. So if it was in SQL, you're talking about joins, maybe left join, right join, outer join, inner join. But here we are talking about Vlookup. So now let's do that. So you're going to say equal to Vlookup. Now if you look at it, it says looks for value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. By default, the table must be sorted in an ascending order. So but then this is the key thing. It looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table. So it's going to go to the leftmost column, which is the matricule number, and we are going to use it here, and then return a value in the same row from a column you specify, like the sex we want to return here. So when it looks for the number here, when it looks for this number here, it should match it with the sex here. So let's go in, click now and go this way. So the first thing is lookup value. So it's going to say, what are we looking up? We are trying to look up this ST03. And where do we want to look it up from? So we need to go to the table where it's coming from, and it's the leftmost of it. So it's, if this table is on the left, so we can select this like this, for example. And then now, remember, it's good to make it a fixed reference, because if not, when you pull your formula down, it's going to change, going to keep going down. Remember, we did fixed and relative references in a previous video, so if you've not looked at that, you can just go back and take a look. So now if I go here and I say, the next thing now is, what is the column index number that this value you want to look up for is found? So I'm checking to see this ST03. I don't want the name, I don't want the start date, I don't want the town, I don't want the job, I want the sex. So you need to count from the leftmost: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's the sixth column here. And then the next thing now is, do you want an exact match or an approximate match? There are times you can use the approximate match to maybe when you want to do some VLOOKUP for some ranges. That is something which you can look at that later. But the most common use case is the exact match. You want to exactly match the matricule number to the exact matricule number you have here. So let's click here, and then when we go here, we see that it returns nil. And if we pull it down, we see that for example, now this ST05 is 0 because we don't yet have anything there. Yeah. So if, for example, I put mail here, subsequently, if this table was well filled, I was just doing it quickly just to save time. You see we get mail here, and then you see already the ST05. Who is that? This is this one. So let me just reduce this and bring it this way so that you can see. Now let's say we even said, okay, we wanted the report to contain the names, we wanted to have their names, so we could add names here. What is the name of the staff? We want to know the performance based on the names of the staffs. We still do the same thing, equals to VLOOKUP. Now we take the matricule number, we do comma again, we go back to the table. Since the matricule is what we are looking for, we go start again from the leftmost here. Again, it's good to make it fixed. Remember, we did that in an earlier video, fixed. And then you count the column now. Which column is the name found? 1, 2, number 2. So we go to 2, and then what do we want? An exact match. So an exact match is just 0, or you click here. So false or 0, or I could still put 0 there. It's the same thing. So when I close that now, I press enter, you see it tells me that this matricule number ST03 is actually Peter, and the other ones are not yet available, so that's why it's having this not available. This one is Peter. So if we check, is it true that ST03 is Peter? ST03, yes, is Peter. So you could take this report that just came like this from the system, enhance it with information like sex and names, and then you are able to maybe even now produce a report which is based on maybe the names. Is it now we can now be able to do a report of sales per name or per person, so which is another angle of reporting that was not there before. So you can now be able to say, I want to report my sales in this manner, and do other analysis with it, just because you've been able to enhance it with other data using VLOOKUP. So it's just interesting to know that you can use something like this to join two tables. And there is another one which is vlookup, and it would look at it horizontally. So This one, VLOOKUP, is very popular because it actually looks at the column wise, and is what you mostly be using. But if you'll be looking at data in terms of row wise like this instead, and not like this, then you'll be able to use the HLOOKUP. So you can also do some research on that, try to read HLOOKUP and see, because the syntax will not be far again from what you expect. So lookup value, table array, row index now, not column index anymore, and then the same things you've been doing here. So just try to look at HLOOKUP and know that since most of your data will be column based, most of your searches will be column based, because you already be trying to get data from this column, or from this column, or from this column. So you should be able to know that VLOOKUP will be very helpful for you. And just try to review, pause this video, create this data, complete this data set, and try to play with it to see how VLOOKUP is able to add many features into your data set and maybe improve the dimension of your analysis. You move from just reporting revenue per product to revenue per sex, or to revenue per name, or to revenue per town, or to revenue per experience, or to revenue per job title. So VLOOKUP will really help you link up two videos. So I hope you really enjoyed this video and you now are more comfortable with formula in Excel. Remember, VLOOKUP is very important for an analyst, if, as we've seen in previous videos, are very important too. So continue to learn. Thank you. See you next video. Wish you good data luck.